Okay. Good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to say that it's really a pleasure to take you here today. And my question is, as we know, your book talks about historical facts. So I'd like to know how was your childhood, if you have lived with your parents, and if they some way could help influence you with your job nowadays.
So could you just repeat the second part there?
The second part? Which one? Let me try. Let me start. So as you know, you have writing about real facts. So I'd like to know how was your childhood, if you have lived with your parents, and if they something actually could help you or influence you in your work about this.
Well, my childhood was a very happy one, actually. I mean, my parents, for example, were great readers and always brought my brother and sisters and I to the library. We didn't have any dramas. You know, it was a fairly normal middle-class Dublin upbringing. So something like the Holocaust or writing about subjects of that magnitude are removed from my experiences. Other than, as I mentioned, the fact of growing up in a time in a country that was dominated by violence. But I have to say that in Dublin we didn't see very much of that violence. You know, most of that was taking place in Belfast or was taking place across the water in London, and only occasionally would something happen in Dublin. So the Northern Irish troubles were probably a television phenomenon for us as much as apartheid was. But I don't think it's possible for an Irish writer of my age to grow up without being influenced by it in some way. And subconsciously, I don't like to think of the Boy Destroyed Pyjamas representing that, because the Holocaust itself is big enough without acting as a metaphor for anything else. But I think the question of fences, the note we have on the back of the book, in the English language version anyway, saying that fences like this exist all over the world and continue to exist, is certainly informed by growing up at that time in that place.
Boa tarde. Eu queria saber se, quando você escreveu O Menino de Gelo Listrado, você queria se focar na amizade entre os dois ou no Holocausto? E se a amizade entre os dois reflete em alguma experiência que você teve na sua infância?
Well, actually, I'm glad you asked that, because I always think the book is a book about friendship more than anything else. The term the Holocaust novel, which is used to sum up my book and so many other books, is, I think, a very... I don't like that term, you know, very much. And I've always thought this is actually a book about friendship and about two little boys who are lonely and have no one to talk to and no one to play with. You know, are looking for some kind of respite and release from the terrible time that they're going through. And certainly when I wrote the book, when I got to the end of it, and when I was writing the final scene, where the two boys are in the gas chamber, it was very important to me that the two boys would be holding hands at that climactic moment. Because even though it ends tragically, I felt there is a moment of beauty there, where their friendship wins. It still beats the Nazis in some strange way. And actually, to go back to the movie for a moment, during that first conversation with Mark, he asked me if there was one moment in the book which I really wanted to see on screen. What was it? And I said I wanted a close-up of the two hands together at the end, which there is. There isn't probably a comparable experience in my childhood, but what there is that Bruno's character is very, very much based, I think, on my own. Bruno is a very solitary child in his way, and I was a very solitary child. He reads Treasure Island all the time. he carries it with him throughout the book. Treasure Island was my favourite book as a child. The way Bruno speaks, referring to his sister as the hopeless case, and picking up phrases from adults that he has overheard and starts using them, and to make himself sound more grown up, is something I always did. When I was about Bruno's age, my older brother one day referred to me as a juvenile delinquent, and I didn't know what juvenile delinquent was, but I like the sound of it, and I went around for a long time calling myself and everyone inside a juvenile delinquent, and so all those facets of my childhood fed into Bruno, and even down to little tank tops, I was always with his little tank tops. So I think his character and his innocence, and what I think is his, I'm not being funny, but what I think is his basic good nature, but his ability to do the wrong thing from time to time, such as when he betrays Shmuel. It just seems to me like who I was when I was 9.
Eu? Boa noite. Eu tenho duas perguntas. A primeira é assim, eu sei que é difícil para um escritor escolher, mas dos livros lançados aqui no Brasil, qual é o seu favorito? E a segunda é como você descobriu essa paixão por escrever? Quando você começou?
Well, I don't really like to rank my books. I think you set out to write a novel, and I think every writer knows when they finish the book and when it's published, whether or not they've achieved their aims, whether or not the book is as good as they think it could have been. And honestly, I mean, I'm not just saying this, but I think the new one is the best one, which is just published this week. I think that one I really focused in that very much on the language. I've written, the two previous books have been from the perspective of a child, and this one is written from the perspective of an 82-year-old man looking back at his life rather than looking forward. So I wanted a character who had a lot of experience and a lot of maturity, and I just wanted to write a more poetic book. So of the 7 books I've published so far, I think that's the one I'm proudest of. And when I started writing when I was, 8, 9 years old. I started writing short stories, and I wrote stories right through my teenage years, a couple of hundred, I'd say. And I started publishing short stories in magazines and newspapers in Ireland when I was about 18 or 19. So, right from the time I was a child, I always wanted to be a writer. I didn't have any other ambition or any other talent, I was very focused, to be honest with you. I just wrote every single day and just focused on eventually getting a novel published. So, right from the childhood.
É uma pergunta lá no fundo, ali. Pode ser primeiro ela, depois passar.
Boa tarde, eu estou muito contente que você esteja aqui no Brasil, conversando com a gente nessa tarde, é muito prazer. E eu queria perguntar para você se você tem pretensão de lançar outros livros, vender outros livros para filmes. E achei muito legal também a sua participação ativa e presente no último filme, que eu não sabia nesse filme do Pijama, do Meninas de Gostar, que ele teve uma participação tão ativa na hora de fazer o filme.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the filmmaking process, but of course it's not really down to the writer, it's down to the film companies. I have just made a short film based on a short story of mine, which we shot in just outside Sydney, Australia, which is coming out later in the year, called The Telegram Man, and it's about it's also set during the Second World War, and it's about the man in a small town who delivers the telegrams to parents to tell them that their children have been killed in the war. So it's about the fact that every time somebody sees him coming, they panic, they fear, and he's a lonely, isolated figure in the community. So that's the second one, and I would like to, the difference I think between, say, the new book, The Winter Palace, and The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas was quite an inexpensive movie to make with the subject matter. The Winter Palace would be a huge epic, cost, I don't know, 3-4 times as much. So I'd like to do it again, but it doesn't take up a lot of my time, a lot of my thought, because people sometimes will say to me, I think that having a movie made is the most exciting thing, but it's not. If I wanted to be a filmmaker, that's what I would have been. I'm a novelist. Having a novel published is always the most exciting thing. That's where I spend my creative energies.